Testing, testing, testing. Morning. I am so happy to be back from a week of business and excitement in Mexico. But I hope you guys are having an amazing morning, and I hope that this information really gets to the crux of what we're trying to create here at Millionaire Brand Creation. So today I'm going to walk you through 7 methods and 7 ways to build your $1 million brand. If you guys have questions, type them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them kind of as we go. But we're going to do kind of a fire hose approach where the last couple of days I've been thinking about what really makes a $1 million brand, right? What makes a brand tick? What makes a brand go from the infancy mode, which a lot of real estate agents are in? How do you grow your business? How do you grow your personal brand? And more importantly, how do you attract people to your brand to create more legitimacy and more income into your business for many years to come? So first of all, hope you guys all caught Clubhouse with Andrew Ecker. That was really moving and interesting how he talked about the dynamics of our history. He talked about the ways with which we can grow within ourselves through, the sanctity of conversation and the sanctity of building your own business. And what I thought most interesting about him was the idea of going into prison, and where there's 2 avenues, similar to business, right? When he was a drug dealer and doing all these illicit things, in prison, you either become better at doing illicit things and being a criminal, and or you make a detour and do something good with your life. And similar in business, you can be like everyone else, or you can do a detour and really be exceptional and try to at least get to that high level, get to that next level of excitement and legitimacy within your business. So we're going to start off with the 7 ways to create your $1 million brand. And the first way is you must show legitimacy. So if you have a piece of paper, I highly encourage you to write this down. Number 1 is show legitimacy. What do I mean by that? Well, legitimacy, when it comes to building your brand, is understanding that professionalism is paramount. If you look at any industry, especially the real estate industry, you will find that the most successful people always institute a sense of professionalism, right? They have professional photos. They are doing things in a manner with video and or other mediums that are of really high content and high character. And a lot of that goes to, in the 90s, early 90s, what Edward Thorndike coined as the halo effect. You may have heard of that dynamic, but the halo effect is the idea in psychology where someone who is attractive, someone who is well-groomed, someone who is well-dressed, someone who is friendly, someone that can communicate effectively has a halo effect around them, right? Like a celebrity. Let's take someone really well-known like Jennifer Lopez, right? She has a halo effect, right? Ben Affleck's career now is on the come up again because he is now with her again, right? So every dynamic of her life, people are interested in, and that's what we want to create around you as a professional, is create a halo effect around you and or your brand. Robert Cialdini, who came up with this concept of social proof, is another concept that EXP does really well. The great thing, if you listen to Glenn Sanford and Ramon Casaus on Monday, they had a really, really good Zoom call. And what I love most about what Ramon and Glenn talked about was the idea of social proof and creating a halo effect around your personal business and EXP in general. What Glenn does so well is he comes across as this oh shucks guy, but beneath the surface of orange, blue, and white clothing. Here's a guy who's extremely intelligent. He understands the psychology and the adoption of business practices on a global scale, right? So when you look at something like that, and if you haven't, please go to Culhane Groups. It's on there. Look at Glenn Sanford's Zoom call. And Matt, you might be able to put that in the comment section if they haven't seen it already. Good morning, Lisa. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Lisa, for the kind text message on my way to Mexico. We had a wonderful time. And on a caveat, actually, this place in Mexico, I'll talk about briefly because this ties into branding. So this place was actually built in 1982. It's around 17,000 square feet, and it has full staff, right? Chef, maid, everyone is washing your clothes every single day. And one of the things I thought about that you guys might think about in your own personal branding is I thought about taking a week and renting this place every single year because it was so mind-blowing, and bringing maybe 4 or 5 of my top people that are running the play and doing the things that are best supporting them and their businesses, and inviting them to Mexico for a week with me and my higher ups. So if you guys are doing well in your business, maybe think about adapting something like that into your own business model to create attraction and retention. But going back to what Glenn was talking about, which is on this YouTube link down below, what I really love about EXP and the model that he instituted was the idea of social proof, right? And the good thing about this is EXP, you can point to other people's successes within the organization to create that halo effect and to create that social proof. So many people in business are so afraid to go out there and to promote themselves. But the problem is being a secret agent, if no one knows who you are, if no one knows your brand, if no one knows your business model, it's very difficult to create a 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure brand and or business. So the thing I want to talk about too is you have to promote your successes publicly. And what's going to happen is as you create more of these posts and this content, when you start talking about people, we want to create effect around Lisa. We want to create effect around Brennan. We want to create effect around Josh and all these people that watch these videos and that follow a lot of the things that I do. We want to create an effect around you guys where people are interested in your lives, right? They're interested in your brand. They're interested in what you're doing. Because what happens is when they have a vested interest in your success, they too want to be a part of it because they feel they will become more successful. So a way to do that, and a way that I think a lot of people aren't doing that when it comes to showing legitimacy, which is number 1, again, just to recap on the 7 ways to create your $1 million brand, is you need to start building people up and genuinely compliment those who are equally and or more successful than you within your organization pattern. Lisa does this well, Josh does this well, Erica does this well, Nick does this well, and Mike Hill, one of my agents and partners, does this well. And one of the things that is really paramount in creating legitimacy for you as an individual brand and or organization is to surround yourself with people that are successful, and you're cross-promoting one another. You're promoting them, they're promoting you. And one of the ways that we started doing that, and Elisa can attest to this, was we started a workout group where I agreed for every day for a year, 365 days, I will do some form of working out and or physical activity, and start tagging a lot of the people in my orbit and follow and or reshare a lot of the things that they're doing as well. And what that does, it creates community. It creates something that is synergistic between a lot of people, and it gets more eyes on our brands to create a larger orbit of success for all of us. So I highly recommend that you do that. If you're not reaching out, if you're not tagging, if you're not complimenting, if you're not commenting and liking on those that you want within your group, Start doing it now. Hey, Robert, how are you? And Robert's a great example of that. He and his wife, Erica, are doing a great example of doing that. So keep up the good work. So number one on your 1 to 7 steps is show legitimacy, right? Talk about the halo effect, social proof, being attractive, dressing well, speaking well, pumping up others around you to show that you have high energy, you have high content, you're successful, and others want a piece of that success, right? The second thing I want you to do right now, if you haven't already done it, is Google yourself. Google yourself. How many of you in the comments section, if you can, raise your hand, how many of you have actually Googled yourself on a computer and or phone that doesn't have all your registered searches in there? Pop in the comment section or like if you have or haven't done that. And the reason I ask that question is, what happens is you have to understand how layers of legitimacy works when you meet someone for the first time. The first thing they're going to ask you, hands down, the last 200 years across every social strata, is one question: what do you do? And when they ask you that question, what do you do, they're really not asking you, oh, I'm a real estate agent, I'm in banking, I have I have all of these things. What they're asking you is, why should I know you? And if you can't answer that question succinctly in 5 or 10 seconds, and you can't show through legitimacy and through all these layers of legitimacy that we're going to help you create why they should know you, you become one of the forgotten. And if you become one of the forgotten, you yourself will not get to the next level of business that you want. Okay, Lisa, I have, but only on 2 of my devices. Yeah. So what happens to a lot of people in their marketing space is they get discouraged, and or when they search their name in Google, not a lot of stuff pops up. Maybe their divorce pops up. Maybe something negative pops up that happened 5, 10, 15 years ago. Maybe all of these things, or even worse, no one even knows who you are. You type in your name and someone else that has the same name comes to SEO, right? Hey, Patrick, how are you? Mike, good to see you, my friend. So what happens is a lot of these people are going to Google you and they're going to go, who's Patrick Caswell? Let me look him up. Okay, he has one website and a divorce from 15 years ago. I'm just picking on you, Patrick, but this is the type of things that people look at, right? And so what we want you to do in creating these 7 layers of your $1 million brand is we want you to become a authority in your space and in your business and in your attractability with people by creating an Alta score on SEO, meaning high ranking websites, as well as creating content when people Google search you for the first time. How are you guys? Thanks for the comments below. I really appreciate it. We want everything that pops up on the first page of Google to be really great content, right? And we're going to get into ways that you can do that. So Google yourself. Search results are always based on relevance, distance, and prominence. That's how the Google algorithm works, right? So the question I want you to ask yourself is, are you in magazines? Have you ever been on the news? Maybe your local news or national news? How are your websites that are tied to your name? If I search Mike Hill, if I search Lisa Reyes, the websites that carry your likeness, your picture, your name, are they of the utmost professional quality? And if they're not, why, right? Because people are going to look at that as your digital resume. The next thing I want you to write down, and if you're asking yourselves, well, how do you get into magazines? How do you get on local news? How have you had national placement? And how I got started, which I think will be a gold mine for you guys, get your pencils out in your pens, is something called HARO, H-A-R-O. And what HARO is help a reporter out. So if you go to haro.com, what it is every day you will be in a system of national reporters across the United States that are looking for specific content that may be relevant to your industry. So if you're a realtor, if you're a flipper, if you're a someone in the building business, or you're a brand creator, or whatever it is that you are, Haro is a great resource to start getting branded. So I'll tell you a quick story that really changed the trajectory of my search results and my Google ability. And I think I told this with Ramon Casals in our Coffees on Me event last week or the week prior. So if you guys were there, thank you for coming. And next time, I hope to see you there, because it was a really great event. But what I talked about was what changed the trajectory of my personal brand was about 6 or 7 years ago. I had the great idea of, I need to get published, right? I need to be in magazines. I need to be on the news. I need to be a relevant, marketable commodity. So how do you do that, right? I started going on Haro, similar to what you can do now, and I started looking at different needs of national writers that needed certain content. And at the time, we were doing high volume fix and flips. I think we did about 163 in 4 or 5 years of houses in Arizona, Anthem, Glendale, Peoria, Phoenix, Scottsdale, and beyond. And there was this reporter out of Boston, I'll never forget it, who was a reporter for Fortune magazine and Money magazine. They had a synergistic national story that they were running at the time, where they needed quotes on how you can lose money flipping houses. And so I reached out to this reporter. I said, I've done extensive flipping in the Arizona market in the mid to late 2000s. And he said, okay, I checked out your credentials. He Googled me, and he said, let's take some quotability lines for my article. So what happened is about a month later, the article comes out, and he sends it to me. And what happens in national articles, not just one feature, not just Fortune may feature that article, but it get picked up by Yahoo, it could get picked up by Money Magazine, it could get picked up by Forbes, it could get picked up by a lot of different national media outlets. So when this article came out, it came out in Fortune, and now when anyone searched my name in house flipping or whatever, I was on a Fortune article that said R&B Luxury Real Estate's Michael Banovac has done this many flips, and he thinks of this in the market. And instantly, just like that became, at the time, which was 8-9 years ago, one of my calling cards when people Googled me. And so when you start using this dynamic of creating your 7 ways to create your $1 million brand, think of things like this and how great it can become. So I probably got 7 deals from that article alone. And when I asked them, how did you guys hear of me? Many of them said, I read that Fortune article and I knew you were a professional in the space and that I trusted you. And that article got displayed in Money Magazine, Fortune, really big national publications. So get on Haro and start creating that opportunity within yourself and within your brand. The first is show legitimacy. The second is Google yourself. The third is create content. And I know you've heard this over and over and over. What kind of content do I create? Am I bothering people? What do I do to create something that makes me different in the marketplace than every other realtor? If you've ever been in that situation, type in the comments below. I'd be interested in hearing that, because that's something I hear over and over and over. I have a lot of great ideas. I just don't know what to post, right? But one of the things, having talked to a lot of marketing firms, is you have to be consistent and different. So the best way to be consistent and different when it comes to creating content is to understand your own personal proclivities and understand what makes you unique in the marketplace. If you're like every other agent, if you're a real estate agent, and you post, these are the market statistics in Austin, Texas, call me if you want me to sell your house. How many other thousands of people are doing that, right? That doesn't make you unique. In fact, it almost makes it kind of a boring dynamic where they're going to associate you and your brand with every other agent out there. So how do you become different, right? How do you become unique? The question I always ask myself, and I tell my agents and the people that follow me in the dating business and beyond, is you got to ask yourself one question before you post something. Why should they care? Why should they care? Why should they care? How is this relevant to them, right? How is this maybe a struggle that they're going through that they can learn from and or inspire them to become better themselves? And so when you ask yourself that question, why should they care, before posting anything, then you're going to start creating content that maybe has to do with you as a mother, you as a father, you as a child, you as a brother, you as a sister, you as a dog owner, you as someone who travels extensively, and maybe Lisa's going to a place that I've never been and I would like to see it. Or Patrick is at this restaurant that I've never been to and wow, those fish tacos look really good. I want to eat there one day, right? That creates interest for me. That's what's in it for me, right? Think of that before you guys post. And your content must also be original and thought-provoking. So if you have an idea that runs through your mind, maybe it's an insecurity. Maybe it's someone spoke poorly to you today. Maybe it's a client that screwed you on a deal. How many of you have lost commissions because someone didn't do what they say they were going to do, right? Guilty. We're all in that situation. But think of how many other agents or how many other people have been in that situation as well. Share it. One of my mentors always told me, he says, you have to have three things when you produce content. You have to be real, raw, and relevant. People are going to see your authenticity and they're going to be a part of it, right? They want to be a part of it. They're like, oh, Lisa is a human being. Patrick is a human being. Robert is a human being. Erica is a human being. I can relate to that. I can relate to I'm having struggles as an agent. I can relate to, someone yelled at me this morning and they don't like my house. I can relate to, oh my God, I got to write a check today. Where am I going to find the money, right? We all have these situations that humanize us, that creates a layer of magnetism because people will say they're like me. They have the same problems as me, maybe just at a different level. So think of it like that. Now, what kind of content should you be creating? Video. Everyone thinks video is such a big deal, and it is. It's a huge deal only because video is what the marketers call a blue ocean effect. What's a blue ocean? Well, a blue ocean is you're in a situation where you can create content and or it can be duplicated and seen by thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people easily. And what happens in the psychological dynamic of seeing people on video is the mind doesn't know the difference between a post on Instagram or a television screen. They don't know the difference between a high quality YouTube video and or someone on a movie. And the reason they don't understand the difference is because I want you to think of your device, your phone, your YouTube channel, all of these things as you're a television star, right? You are a star in your own movie. This being absorbed and watched by, at first, very few people, then hundreds, then thousands, then 10,000s, then millions, will create that seven-figure brand over time. But I want you to understand this. Consistency will always beat genius. That's a quote I really resonated with, and I want you to write it down. Consistency will always beat genius. You could be the most intelligent person in the world. You could have the most brilliant idea. But if you're not consistent in allocating small daily deposits to make that idea real, you become forgotten. If you're not consistently putting out content on a daily basis, which we'll get into a little bit later as what are those things, then you will be forgotten. And I'll tell you a funny story actually with Grant Cardone. I know a lot of you are fans of Grant, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him 20, 30, 40 times at this point. He's a very smart guy, very intense guy. And the dynamics of Grant, what made him interesting is 12, 15 years ago, most people didn't realize this, but he was actually supposed to go on a television show. And they discontinued the show. They didn't want to air it. And Grant was so pissed off, so irritated. Yeah, Uncle G, baby. That's right, Patrick. He was so pissed off. He was driving down Highway 1 in Malibu, and he was talking to one of his friends, and he says, you know what? I'm going to make myself a celebrity. He says, I am going to be so consistent, so persistent on creating content on a daily basis that I will be so comfortable on video on all these platforms that in 5 to 10 years, everyone will know my name. Well, what happened with that in the first couple of years? His friends were laughing him out of the room. They said, oh my goodness, Grant, I got to unfollow you. You're just emailing me, video posting. You're doing all these YouTube videos. You're on Instagram. 10 years ago, no one really even knew what Instagram was. It probably didn't even exist. But he was a first adopter. He created consistent content. And if you look back all the way 12, 13 years ago when Grant started posting his videos, like many of you, or maybe even me, when I first started, they were of low quality, they had low viewership, and no one knew who Grant was. But let's fast forward 10, 12, 13 years later. Many millions of people now know who Grant Cardone is. He has a robust following on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and beyond. And it's because he was not a genius. He was consistent. And that consistency, those daily deposits will start to move the needle for you in your guys' brand. So to kind of reapproach what we talked about, the first is show legitimacy. The second is Google yourself. The third is create contact. And now the fourth is you must leverage social media. I know everyone says, oh, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I did a little video, yay. But if 100 people are watching you and you have a really low contact base where not a lot of eyes are viewing your content, people will associate that as to you being irrelevant. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is how do you leverage social media in a way that actually moves the needle in your brand? One of the things that Andrew Ecker talked about today is what most people don't realize is currency is the ultimate commodity in achieving your dreams, right? And he labeled currency as not just money, us earning money, us earning stock, us becoming multimillionaires or decamillionaires or billionaires or whatever is a great dynamic and a great goal. But there's another level of currency that many million-dollar brands don't talk about. And that's what Grant Cardone and many other prolific people in the space talk about as social currency. Your ability to pick up a phone and talk to a celebrity, your ability to pick up a phone and have someone do a favor for you, your ability to pick up a phone and have someone that you have a strong, authentic connection with is way more valuable in the marketing space and in your life than the numbers in your bank account. So I want you to understand that, right? You can't be an island. The most unsuccessful brands are those that are an island, right? Those that are single, what we call actually are solopreneurs, right? You're on your own. And if you're on your own, you are usually 9 times out of 10 struggling to create that next layer of legitimacy and contact. So what are some of the places you should be and be really successful on in your social media play? Facebook, okay? Whether people like Facebook or not, it's one of the oldest platforms and one of the most successful. But if Mike Hill, if you're on here, comment below, what are some things that we did to your Facebook, right? Mike will tell you, we brought in professional photographers. We changed his banner photo. We did a lot of things to really create a professional and legitimate looking space where people were on his Facebook go, Mike Hill is a professional. And I want you to think about every time you post something, why would people care about this? How does it benefit them, right? Am I coming across professional? Am I coming across in a way that other people want to do business with me? Think about those things before you start posting, a picture of you not looking your best, or you in a low-end situation that counteracts what your business is trying to create, right? So Facebook is a big one. Another big one that I think a lot of agents and business professionals need to be more robust on is LinkedIn. Many people say, have my photo on LinkedIn, but do you have your resume on there? Are you tagging other people that you're in business with when you create a post on LinkedIn? How many people are you trying to connect with on a daily basis on LinkedIn, right? How many people or how many agents, if you're an EXP, are you reaching out to on a daily basis on LinkedIn? Are you creating professional-based content where other realtors and or potential clients will want to connect with you on LinkedIn? Something to think about. And similar to Facebook, you want your header and your main photo, as well as all your summary-based content in LinkedIn, to be as professional and as concise as possible. The third thing that you really want to be robust on, and I was a late adopter to this, I think I got on Instagram about 2 years ago. And in the beginning, like many others, I poo-pooed it. I really thought this is a waste of time. Like, why do I want to share photos with someone with little or no content? I don't understand why people find this so appealing. So as a late adopter, I was putting it down. And the reason I was putting it down is because maybe like many of you, I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know the power of how it worked. I didn't know when someone tried to Instagram me and I wasn't on there, it was hurting my brand. And so what I realize now more than anything is when you start meeting people, especially of the age of 40 years old or younger, a lot of them are not only asking you maybe for your number, etc. They're going to ask you, what's your Instagram, right? Can you follow me on Instagram? Can I follow you on Instagram, right? These are the things that that are going into our constant conversation now as we're out in the business place. Lisa Reyes, all of my fitness pics are about me sweating without makeup. Your thoughts on that? Well, if you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that, Lisa, but I would definitely have some artistic looking fitness pics that make you look as glamorous and as attractive as possible intermingled. So what that'll do is that'll show people that you're working hard, you're working out, and it'll also show people that at times you also are professional and doing, and staying in with your brand, if that makes sense. But I think it's important to understand that where Instagram now in our social hierarchy and what people are doing is the first thing people do when they go on Instagram, and I'm sure you guys have done that as well, is they're going to say, okay, who is on Instagram? Who is this Michael Banovac guy? Let me search this guy. Okay, who is this clown? Okay, they're looking at follower count, right? I don't know if you can see this, but they're looking at how many followers does he have? How many people is he following? How are his pictures laid out? Does he have a message? Does he have a bio? Does what this guy even talk about relate to me, and how am I benefiting from it, right? And so one of the biggest problems people are having is people are judging you guys very, very quickly on really dumb metrics. They're judging you based on Google searches. They're judging you based on your Instagram presence and your followership. And they're judging you based on lifestyle and content. So when you think of it like that, your goal is to slowly move the needle day after day, time after time, to become more attractive and more magnetic in those spaces, right? Last but not least, YouTube. YouTube is a blue ocean of opportunity. And what I mean by that is, as I stated slightly earlier before, when you post a high quality video onto YouTube, similar to what Matt is doing with Matt Black Productions and our Culhane companies at large, is we're producing a ton of high quality content, right? This is an example of that. This couldn't have been done just with me. It takes an army. It takes Matt. It takes his skill. It takes his ability. And it's creating great synergistic components when we're putting out high-end video content. Who's watching it, right? Not just Brian, not just Matt, not just myself, but Lisa, but Patrick, but Robert, but all these people that are part of our orbits. They're rewatching it, they're sharing it, they're doing all of these things, and there's absolutely no reason that you guys can't be doing this yourself. You should be. And in the beginning, don't get discouraged if one person views your video or 10 people view your video. What you're doing is you're creating that muscle memory, right? You're good on camera. You're looking sharp. You don't mind looking at yourself on YouTube. And more importantly, you're helping people, right? You're disseminating that message of why you and your brand are going to make more other people happier and more successful in their businesses. So what are some things you can do today, right now, to help leverage your social media? The first thing I would do is I would make it a point to make at least 10 moves and or at a minimum 10 things on your social media platforms throughout each day. Now, I'm not saying do 10 posts. I'm saying maybe do a post a day or a post every other day on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, maybe one a week on YouTube. But you have to be active on these sites, right? The algorithms are looking at your activity. And what are the highest level of activity that you can do? I would write this down because this is important. The first highest level activity you can do on any of these platforms that we talked about is number one is post. But if you post too much shit and no one cares about it, then you're lowering your credibility, you're lowering your brand awareness, and you're creating a lot of content that in the beginning people are like, I'm not really that excited about it. So what's the second thing that you can do? The second thing that you can do, regardless of your followership and regardless of how many eyes are on your brand at the moment, is to start commenting heavily on those that you want to become. So let's say you're a real estate agent, right? And let's say you like Ryan Serhant, or you like Frederick Eklund, or you like Josh Altman, or you like any of those agents in the space, or Grant Cardone, that are doing great things. Take time on a daily basis to start commenting on their posts. Start liking and commenting on their posts. If it's something that you really like, share it on your story. That's something that I started doing about a year and a half ago, and I do it all the time because I want to cross-pollinate. I want to cross-promote. What most people do wrong is they're simply liking something and moving on to the next thread, whether it be a YouTube video, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. A like takes you the least amount of time to do, and it's also received by the person posting it as, okay, that's cool. Thank you for liking my thing, but they didn't take time to comment, right? The algorithm recognizes that. They recognize the fact that, okay, they liked it, but they didn't share it, they didn't comment on it, whatever. But if you start taking the time to comment on people that you want to emulate or you become, and you start taking the time to possibly even sharing or doing a shout out on your own stories or on your own feed about people that you respect and that you like, and you start putting their name on there, that person and or persons is going to get notified. And what happens when that notification comes in their inbox and they're saying Lisa Reyes is sharing your post, Mike Hill is sharing your post, Patrick is sharing your post? Well, what's that going to do? It's going to give a little adrenaline spike to the viewer, myself, or Grant Cardone, or Brian Culhane, or any one of these people, insert name here, and they're going to say, oh, I like that person. I enjoy that person. I want to thank that person. I want to start doing collaboration with that person. And once you start doing that over a long period of time, what they call is proximity principle. Your brand will start elevating with that person. That's a really good way to get started on leveraging your social media content. It's not just about you. It's not just about your posts. It's about the collaboration and content that you can comment on and or share with people that are already higher than you in whatever space that you want to become a success in. Boy, we are running out of time. Hopefully you guys are liking this content. Like or comment if you're liking this so far. This is always exciting to me because this is what people pay me to do. So I love this stuff, but hopefully you're liking it too. Number 5. So we'll do a recap. Number 1 is show legitimacy. Number 2 is Google yourself. Number 3 is create content. Number 4 is leverage social media. And number 5, which a lot of people don't like doing, is you must build a following, right? People are going to look at your following as a concept and a construct of trust. The more people that are following you, the more people that are liking your content, the more people that are commenting on your content creates a trust halo effect around you and your brand. So that's why having a lot of followers, having a lot of quote unquote friends on these platforms creates more trust for you and your brand in the marketplace. And it creates an easier way for you to attract more people into your life, right? So if you're looking to, grow your follower-ship, I think the best way to do that is 3-prong. One is to go off what I said before, where you start cross-promoting and cross-pollinating with people that already have a stronger followership. Maybe start searching on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and all these platforms, and start befriending and or following people that you respect. One of the things I did to get to my 5,000 friends on Facebook was I looked at people in the industry that I respected, and maybe I had never met them initially. But I started commenting on their things. I started, liking their things, and I tried to add them as a friend. And many of the times, they didn't know who I was. They weren't going to add me because I didn't have legitimacy at that time, several years ago. But over time, they said, "Oh, I like this guy. He's legitimate enough." They started adding me. They started following me. They started creating that flywheel effect, so to speak. And they will do the same for you. I promise you. Number 6 is also important, which we've slightly talked about, and it's called promote advocates. What does that mean? Well, as you become more well known, it's very important. Thank you so much, Gladys. Really appreciate it. It's really important that you start helping more people. And the reason I say it's really important is because when you start becoming a teacher, like I'm doing today, and hopefully this content is helping you guys, this benefits me in a lot of ways, right? I'm not monetarily benefited from this, but I'm benefiting from this because now I am a teacher, right? I'm helping you guys with the content I've already learned within myself. So as you start raising higher and higher into the space, I want you to start becoming a teacher. What are you good at, Mike? What are you good at, Lisa? What are you really good at, Patrick? What are you really good at that is unique to you, right? And start teaching people about whatever it is that you are uniquely good at. Become a teacher. Ramon, if you were at our Coffees on Me event 2 weeks ago, had a great construct that you guys will want to write down. If you have your pads of paper out, I highly recommend you write this down. It was an acronym called STIR, S-T-I-R. And what STIR stands for is we talked about the ability to attract, right? If you were within EXP in our organization, you want to attract more agents. You want to attract more business. You want to attract more success. You want to attract more happiness, right? Our whole lives are about attraction. And what STIR stands for is S stands for surprise. You have to surprise someone. Do something out of the norm. Maybe someone's not expecting you to buy them lunch or buy them a cup of coffee. Do it. Maybe someone's not expecting you to send them a book or do something nice or go out of your way to compliment them that day. That's a surprise. Do it. What Ramon was saying that he does, which was a surprise, is he'll randomly send people that he wants to get in their inner orbit on a bottle of Dom Perignon. And everyone's like, whoa, that's a nice gift. What is this for? He said, oh, just because I want to know you. You're cool. Enjoy. That creates a surprise dynamic, right? That creates a synergy of, oh, maybe I need to follow this guy. Maybe I need to know what he's doing. T, as we talked about a little bit earlier, stands for teach. People, if you look into your lives and you look into the people that have made the most impact in your lives, guy or girl, young or old, rich or poor, it doesn't matter. The person that was your most important person and or persons was a teacher. Maybe it was your mother. Maybe it was your father. Maybe it was your business partner. Maybe it was a mentor, right? Your teachers are always those people that are most important to you. I stands for inefficiency. And, everyone talks about, I got to get on my CRM and be really efficient. What Ramon talked about that I agree with is there is something really memorable about being inefficient. What's easier, for me to type a note to someone and send it, or for me to hand write a note and send it, right? The handwriting of the note is more memorable because it was inefficient in me taking a pen to paper and writing everything down, right? Me giving someone a gift that was hard to obtain, or me sending someone a real authentic compliment, or being a cheerleader for someone when they're down the most. That's inefficient. That's taking time out of maybe your day, your friend's day, and them doing something great for you. And last but not least, you have to reconnect. This is a big dynamic that a lot of multi-million-dollar brands understand. What most people do and why they fail in business is they fail to reconnect. How many of you, I'm guilty of this, when you reach out to a potential client, a potential agent, and they say, oh, I'm not interested. Okay, well, F them. I'm not interested in you either. Bye-bye, right? Dumb. Because your goal is a no doesn't mean a no forever. It just means a no, not right now. But if you continually reconnect, if you continually add value, if you continually are on their radar, whether it be on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and all these things, what's going to happen? Eventually, these people are going to say, you know what, Patrick, you know what, Lisa, you know what, Erica, you know what, Robert, I kind of like you. Like, you're a cool person. What was that EXP thing again? Or, show me that house you were talking to me about again in Mesa or Scottsdale or whatever. And these things start reconnecting. So again, STIR stands for surprise, teach, inefficiency, and reconnect. So take that into account. Hopefully that helps you guys. So to go over, we're at number 7 now, but I want to go over the top 6. Number 1 is show legitimacy. Number 2 is Google yourself. Number 3 is create content. Number 4 is leverage social media. Number 5, it's really important to build a following, and you're going to do that slowly over time by number 6, promoting advocates, right? So promoting your advocates, doing shout out to your peers. Maybe Robert, you could be, Robert does a great job of this. He's constantly promoting his wife. He's constantly promoting a lot of the people in his sphere. He's constantly giving. He was kind enough to take me to the Phoenix Open this year. That was very generous. Thank you, Robert. And that's the type of stuff where if you're promoting your advocates, what's going to happen? It's going to come back to you 10x, right? It's the 10x method. The more you give, the more you get. The giver's game, right? And number 7, this is probably the most important thing I want you guys to understand. Number 1 is don't think you're too prideful to say I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or I handled that incorrectly. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect. It's okay to be imperfect. So many of the things I see when people are at a very high level, and I see this often with ultra high net worth people, is they're too afraid to take accountability, right? They're too afraid to say, hey, I'm human. I fucked up. I did that wrong. But next time I'm going to learn from my mistakes and I'm going to do it right. There's nothing wrong with being authentic and saying those things. In fact, I think people will respect you and follow you a lot more if you are more authentic. But number 7, the true number 7 is never compete. Never compete. I know when you hear that, you're like, but I'm a competitor. I want to win. But let me tell you the problem. The surest way to fail in a high-level business is to try to copy or relay the same concepts as others. Because as soon as you try to copy, as soon as you try to do exactly what everyone else is doing, you yourself lose your authentic advantage and you yourself lose your ability to be great in business. And that's what happens. You know, why was Glenn Sanford and EXP so successful? Because they did something no one else had done at that time, right? They threw Keller Williams' model on its head, and he realized everything that was going wrong within his businesses and why he wanted to leave, Keller Williams, was to create a synergistic approach where there was a strong sense of community, there was a strong teaching dynamic, but most importantly, there was a reason to stay within the company and retain happy agents. What makes people happy? Success, right? A group community, a community of people winning together, right? Me promoting Patrick, me promoting Robert, me promoting Lisa, me promoting Mike, me promoting Gladys, me promoting all of you guys that took the time out of your day, which I really, really appreciate, to go out there and to promote. And so any way I can help you guys, the best way, I'm telling you, promote your advocates. If you guys find this attractive, do me a favor, take your phone, take a photo of this video and tag me in it so I can reshare it for all of you and get all of my viewers to your guys' Instagram account. That's one thing you can do right now. And I'd highly recommend that you do it. I don't need more viewership. I want you guys to get to the next level and let me help you, right? That's the whole dynamic of what we're trying to create. And again, it's okay if you're not in a space right now that you feel comfortable in. We're all fighting for that next level. And I'll tell you a secret. No matter where you are financially or in your life, you're never satisfied. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I thought to myself, if only I had $1 million. Well, when I was 27, I made $1 million. Did I feel any more whole? No. I felt more scared because now I was in a situation where now I had something to lose, right? And so when you think about your life, you got to understand we're in constantly a mercurial environment, right? Things are changing all around us. But the things that you have constant, your family, your friends, your business, your authenticity, right? All these things, your trustworthiness, all of these things people gravitate to. People want to be a part of. And it doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter your wealth. It doesn't matter your creed. It doesn't matter your belief system. All that matters is like attracts like, right? Good people want to be with good people. And the truth behind being successful in business is being more to yourself, having a strong moral compass, and adding value to problem areas that people can't solve for themselves. So when you go out and to end, what I want you guys to understand is when you're forming and creating your own empires and your 7-figure, businesses, you got to understand it's okay to start from nothing, right? Don't be embarrassed or don't be afraid that you're only making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year. We all started there. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm on the come up. I'm rising up. I've made some bad decisions in my life, but I'm going to change. And how are you going to change? How can people validate your change? The only way they're going to validate your change is through consistency. How do I know Lisa is working out? Because she's posting those photos every single day and she's tagging me in them. And I can't tell you how excited that makes me, Lisa, and all of you guys that are participating in these little fun things that we do, because it shows me that you're taking the initiative within yourself to make a difference within your own life. And that makes me happy. So as you build your empire, as you build your multi-million-dollar brand, you got to understand you're going to start small. right? You're going to start local. You're going to start your brand in a small dynamic. We all do. It goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32. Start local, then go national, and then you can go global because of the construct that's already created within the EXP model. And so many people ask me, like, how do you create a national brand? Well, you got to create a brand that thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people, can see you on. With the invention of the internet, with the invention of social media, with the invention of websites, with the invention of all these things that are out there, all it takes is I can be anywhere in the world, have a computer, have my phone, and I could tell you within 5 minutes, if I looked up any one of your guys' names, if I want to do business with you. So the question I would ask yourself is, how can you create that digital resume? How can you create that million or multi-million or billion-dollar brand within yourself and captivate the viewer locally, nationally, and globally to say, when I look up Mike Hill, or I look up Patrick Haswell, or I look up Robert, I want to do business with that person. I want to do business with that person. I'm attracted to that person. I want to be in their rev share line. I want to be a part of their sphere. And if you can ask yourself and answer that question, you're going to be extremely successful in business. You know, and a lot of the people, they always talk about grind culture. I'm grinding it out. How's your business? Oh, I'm just hawking houses. You know, it's not exciting. It's not sexy. What sells people? Inspiration, right? Freedom, the heart, something that we all have gone through. Failure. You know, I'll save you guys a suspense. I've failed many, many times in my life. And as I become more and more successful, which I am, the more disheartened I become, because maybe like you, I feel maybe I haven't accomplished enough, right? Maybe I haven't done enough. Maybe I should be doing more. And I think a lot of us, regardless of where we are financially, fill in those gaps with despair or sadness or all those things. But all I can tell you is this: keep going, right? Don't stop. The consistency is the game. And you guys spending an hour of your time with me today gives me a lot of hope, and it should give you a lot of hope that you have everything that you need to be successful. And if I can be a conduit to help you, you know, if you guys, you know, see anything in here that you want me to expand on or you enjoyed, please feel free to reach out to me, you know, DM me, comment on anything, and I'm happy to help. But we have 3 minutes left. Do you guys want to ask any questions? Put it in the comment section and be happy to answer them. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the kind comment, and thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, and thank you to all of you guys. I mean, this would be nothing if, again, it didn't have eyes and it didn't have people that loves the content and wants to create something within themselves. But it's the consistency game. You know, I'll tell you a quick story if you guys don't have any more questions. I remember I was thinking about this in my 20s, and I heard this from an ultra high net worth guy. And he was telling me, he's like, you got to understand, right? Pretend you're a horse, right? You're a horse in the Kentucky Derby, right? It's the biggest race of your life. And this is your life, right? You guys are in the biggest races of your life right now to create your own happiness, your own freedom. And the gun goes off, right? You're racing. You're a horse. So you have blinders on. You know, you're just focusing on winning that race, whatever that race is within your life. And you're running your ass off. You're running. You look up. And all of these horses that you're running against are way ahead of you, right? They're way ahead of you on the race. And that's where we all fall into these concepts of, compare my net worth to others. That person has more people on their rev share line than me. That person is more successful than me. Don't look at the other horses. Put your blinders on. Keep running. And this guy was telling me this story, and he says, you're probably that horse in that race, right? You're running. And finally, you run across that finish line. The gun goes off. The confetti comes down. You're awarded that bouquet and you came in first place. You won the Kentucky Derby. And you look around and you're saying to yourself, how did I win? I was so far behind. And the announcer tells you, they said, look, you were running so fast and so hard and you were so dedicated that you ran a lap in front of everyone else almost. And you were so far ahead of everyone else that you thought was in front of you that you didn't even realize you almost beat them by a full lap in the race. And that was a real interesting anecdote to me because I'm thinking, you know what? You're right. Because when we compare ourselves to others, we don't understand that so many people come from different backgrounds. So many people come from different opportunities. So many people have different things they're trying to juggle in their lives. But put your blinders on. Don't worry about everyone else and their successes or failures and just keep running your race. And before you know it, you'll be a superstar. So hopefully that helped you guys. And, I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And if this resonated with you, I encourage you, tag me, I'll tag you and share this content. And hope you guys have a great week and take off, create your dreams, and create your own multi-million-dollar brand. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.